All right, so tonight we're busy with what shall I say, the second legacy coach feedback. And tonight's already mid-June or almost mid-June. And just to remind us in terms of this picture, we are the hand here that facilitate the journey of the individual on his step from struggle to stability to success to significance. And the whole Legacy Coach program and the annual self-assessment and everything is designed to help people along. Now, we're still busy finding a rhythm and the structure for these Legacy Coach feedbacks, and in time it will become a lot more also practical, where we can recognize people's achievements and their growth. But we're very much in the beginning stages of this whole thing. So tonight, this is our agenda. We finished the values that we've started off with last time. And then I'm going to unpack the process from member to paid member in more detail. And then I just thought of talking about how to become the go-to person in your community, because for you to eventually get the maximum financial benefit from the role of a facility of a legacy coach, you need to also understand what it takes to become this go-to person. And then next meeting, and then we'll have a question and answer session at the end. So in terms of values, we have a lot of values, but tonight I would just want to touch on a few. So accountability, because we also have a bank, but it's accountability because we have the lives of people in our hands. It's built into every structure and serving officer of GIG, be it management, administration, or at legacy coach level. So what does it mean? Well, you know, we keep you also accountable for if your team is not growing and moving forward. We look for the fold at the leaders level. Are you in contact with your people? Are you talking to your people? But at the same time, with accountability also comes reward. So those who are doing it will start seeing the benefit. Then stewardship, it's a term that will come up often in our discussion, but we are called and will be accountable for how do we steward the resources of time, of people, and of material things, because they are only on loan to us for our limited lifetime. And we will be judged on how we steward these resources and have grown it. And one of the biggest things you can be, most valuable things you can be busy with is investing in people, because then you unlock their time, their energy, their potential, and their resources. Then lead by example. Don't expect others to do what you're not willing to do. Actively use all the products and services of GIG, and I think that speaks for itself. So I strongly want to encourage all the legacy coaches also to open up investment accounts so that you can be part of that. Then this is a critical one. Love people. God created every person regardless of nationality, tribe, or culture, and has a good plan and purpose for each one of us. And I think just on this note, it's also how you treat people. When people ask you a question and you might be tired and feel, can't you just read the stuff, but don't become irritable. You know, that one relationship that you handle wrong, it doesn't matter how many times you're sorry afterwards, but they will remember you for not being a nice person. So if we start getting feedback from someone who in his verbal or written communication is almost abusive of other people, I will certainly take steps and in the end rather remove such a person as a legacy coach, because that's not the image we want to have for GIG and for the legacy coaches. Then servant leader. Our highest function is that of a servant. As we start to serve our families and communities out of love, we will soon be elevated to higher and higher leadership positions. Ongoing learning. Our value to our family and the community is in direct proportion to the ongoing learning and personal growth we are putting ourselves through. And then the last is be a co-owner, co-ownership. Take co-ownership of the GIG movement and constantly look at ways we can improve our value offered to our members. So make a note of these things, or we can come and revisit them later on in our question and answer session. But these are amongst the values that we then value highly and want to make part of our thing going forward. So this slide is just a process flow to say, upgrade free member to paid member. So why is it important? Henry is also on the call, and Henry, my personal assistant, specifically with regards to the Legacy Coach program. And for those people who have then ticked this and done the exam and the certificate, and they're now ready to, and they've sent us their service level agreement, they will then be the people who are on a regular basis receiving an extra or so names of people that they then need to follow through. And these will be names. All we know about these people is that they are not yet assigned to a person, because if you're assigned to someone, you will not be part of the unassigned free flow. But if you're unassigned, we'll give you a member. Then you start with send them an email. Now, in terms of send them an email, this is the step that I would recommend. That the purpose of the step is to introduce yourself as the appointed legacy coach of this member on behalf of the Gig Institute, and to notify them that you'll be contacting them soon. So you haven't yet met them, but it's just a heads up, I'm coming. And then this is a pro forma email template. And for those of you who then get your free names of members to follow up, or free members to follow up, Henry will also send you then this step-by-step process with this script in it. But so a person will receive their name. Thank you for registering as a free member of the Gig Institute. As you may know, Gig stands for the Generational Inheritance Group, and we have developed a secret whereby any person can lead his family to become the next generational family and live a life of abundance and prosperity through the development of a 3-generational mindset. The secret to leading your family from a 1-generation mindset of economic lack and pain to a 3-generational mindset of abundance and prosperity will take you through the 4 S's: struggle to stability, to success, to significance. As a paid member, you will also get access to our Gig Community Bank, where members can access free interest loans. I have been appointed by Gig to be your legacy coach on this journey, and will contact you shortly to meet you and discuss your journey. Feel free to contact me if you have any questions around the Gig movement or the financial products of the Gig CFI, and then I just expand. It stands for Cooperative Financial Institution. Regards, put your name there, put your cell number there. So that is what I would recommend you start off with, but you're very welcome to then tweak the message to represent more of your personal style. All right, so now you've sent the mail, you told them you're going to contact them, so set out a couple of days for yourself and then follow up, and here's the next process. Now, this process that I'm outlining here is already set up for you on HubSpot. So by moving people through, it's called deals on the HubSpot program, and make sure that every free member that you then enter, that you create a deal for them. And if you're not sure how, you can then contact our office or Henry. And Henry, if you can put your contact details there in the chat room, and also the email address where they can contact you, then you can set up meetings and just take, and then Henry will just take you through the HubSpot. Now, if you phone them and they said, yeah, I remember vaguely that I've signed up long ago, but you know what, don't worry, I'm not interested. Then you can immediately move them to the end of the deal, which the deal is called stuck. So it's not to say you forget about them, but don't waste time on them for now. Their circumstances might change. If they say, oh yes, no, I remember this and thank you for contacting me. Now you talk to them, and I'll give you some more scripts to go through, but encourage them and ask them, have they watched the 4-minute video? If they say no, tell them to watch the video and do the first course. If they have watched the video, ask if they've done the first course, and then set up another follow-up meeting. So what is this step? This step is then introduce yourself. I'm from Gig. I'm now your legacy coach. Then you find out, and here's a few questions to prompt them. How did you find gig? Is it by chance or via internet search? And if they say it's by chance or via internet search, doesn't matter. You then put yourself as the referrer in the HubSpot field of how they found gig. If they give you a name of a person and say, so-and-so referred me, then write the name of that person down and then go and check on Mambo, and Henry can also help you there. If such a person is a current gig member, and if he is, then you update that gig member as the referrer on HubSpot, but you are still the legacy coach. If the name they mention as a referrer is not currently a gig member, so it could be someone referred someone to someone and to someone, but none of them signed up. In such a case, it's the same as the above. You are the referrer and also then the legacy coach. Then ask them what were their reasons to register as a free member. And if it's still valid, ask them, is it still valid and would they like to find out more? And then you start the process like we've described. And if they say, no, I'm no longer interested, and I don't even remember why I've started. If you feel that you can't move them forward at this point in time, just thank them for the time and finish off the call and move them to stuck on the deals. Then if you ask them, have you watched the 4-minute video? If not, encourage them to watch it and give them the website address again via WhatsApp or email. And like Ian has asked that question, that's the giginstitute.com email address. If they already watched it, encourage them to watch it again and refer them to the website to do the first course to learn about gig, and then book a follow-up meeting in the next 3 to 7 days. And now at that follow-up meeting, one of two things can happen. When you follow up, they say, you know what, sorry, don't worry about me. I didn't even watch the video. I just won't have time for this, or whatever thing you feel is a negative response, and they say no to you, put them in the stuck. If they say yes, however, then book a Zoom meeting to register them as a paid member, or you can do it immediately and start them on a paid member journey, refer them to the website and encourage them to follow the paid member journey. Or another way to just look at that is follow up is, have you got any questions? Then answer the questions. Make sure they understand the products of the CFI, especially the Investor Club and the Loan Share. Ask if they're ready to become a paid member. Give them the options of the various members option, help them to register online. And if no, then just thank them and move them to stuck. But if they then become a paid member, that's then starting them on the paid member journey, which is a new deal that you then have to complete with them. All right.
Jasper, do we have currently a list of what must the person have ready with them if I'm going to take them through the paid membership? Like banking details, and so forth and so forth. Is there a list? Because I have now a lady that wants to enroll, and I want to set up a Zoom meeting with her, but I want her to get everything ready. So as I work with Zoom through them to the registration, that they have all the details with them.
Yeah, that's a good question. And I think the form directs you in that. So if you as a legacy coach are familiar with the questions asked in the paid membership form, then that will direct you knowing the person, and it's literally only the bank account details because the rest is their personal home address, which they know, and who referred them. That's the other person. That's the other question there, and the rest is straightforward. Also, who is their next of kin or beneficiary, and you would then need to know the email address and contact details of such a person. Yeah, so that basically is then the follow-up process. So I put it out in a Word document so that you can copy paste the template and adjust it to your own liking and make it a standard thing. But it's only important if you are then ready to receive unassigned free members and are willing to help us to put them through the process. But that's also a way that you can then build up your team. Now, Henry will contact you, and some of you he has already contacted. And for whatever reason you say, listen, my plate is full, I can't handle further free members, then not a problem. Then just let him know. We'll make a note next to your name, but we would appreciate if you do have the capacity to help us absorb these free members onto the program. Right. Then I want to start ending up my training session by just bringing something to your attention. And by almost default, if you are the legacy coach and you do your work correctly, you will become the go-to person in your community. And it's literally what the word says. Eventually, because GIG is offering almost a one-stop service, if a person wants to know, do we have someone in GIG that's an electrician, or do we have someone in GIG that's an accountant or whatever, or what do you think of my business idea? They will come to you as a legacy coach first. Now, this past week, I was in a discussion where the word flow state came up, and I thought, very interesting. And it's when circumstances and needs align with solutions, well-functioning structures, and skilled and trained people. And then the person or entity that reaches this flow state will function from a position of favor, and things will almost just happen easily. It's almost just momentum. And I believe GIG is fast approaching that flow state. And especially as each legacy coach become good in their job to look after people, and already at the back end, we've got a lot of good structures in place. I believe I can see this thing just take off with such massive momentum that, it will take you along on this journey. So what do you need to do to become the go-to person? Know your subject well. Know GIG products, know what is the GIG products and services. Be familiar with navigation through HubSpot and Mambo. And yeah, so that's specifically pertaining to GIG and also the programs and services. Then be a connector, a networker. As you, and I put there, learn how to communicate with people. People appreciate someone who take an interest in them. And what I've learned in my years in multi-level marketing is the abbreviation FORM. F stands for family, O for occupation, R for recreation, and M for motivation. So as you engage with people, whether it's telephonically or work with them, use these 4 categories and just ask them about their family. So are you married with kids? What do they do? What's your wife doing? O for occupation. All right, so you're an engineer now. How long did it take you to study? Or I met a lady a week or 2 weeks ago that she's currently, I don't know what position is she currently, call it estate agent. But as we drilled in, that's a recent thing. She used to be something else, then something else, but she actually came out of, what's it, call it engineering or, but very interesting. So as you talk to people, you learn more about what is the current state of affairs in their world, and then what would they need. So as you see how you can help them, connect them with someone that you think can help them or with whom they can collaborate with. So that will make you one of the go-to persons in the community. Be a specialist in your own interests. So even as a legacy coach, you might have a job, but your real passion is what, let's say social media, or your real passion is some other thing. Become good at that, because your passion and your skill will make you attractive over time and make you of more value to your community. And then add value to others and be positive. And this is very hard. When you work with people, you're not always in a state of mind to be very friendly. Well, in that case, then just don't expose yourself to people until you get your attitude in gear. Because when you speak to people, especially as a legacy coach, you are their image of GIG. And if they mistreat it, or they feel they treat it harshly or not taken an interest in it at all, well, okay, then it reflects on the whole of GIG. And unfortunately, I see with the way some people communicate in their written and verbal communication, and it doesn't make a good impression. So make a point of being positive. Then create events. Now, it's very difficult currently because we're still in lockdown, but even if you just, and I encourage all of you with WhatsApp or what's the other one, Telegram, create your group of all the people in your group. And whenever I send you something to the legacy coaches, make sure you on-send it to your group as well. So that's how you create an event. And from time to time, put yourself out where someone in your team might want to speak to a group of people in his network on gig. Make yourself the speaker. So be that facilitator and answer their questions. But the more you can be seen as someone who take initiative and be a facilitator, that makes you more valuable. And then, for a legacy coach, training never stops. Put yourself on an ongoing personal growth program. And I have found the best way for me to learn is by committing me to a topic and then teach people on that. And then in teaching it, I actually get to learn it myself. Yeah, so get yourself out there, some 6 points just to reflect on, and let's see where that takes us. Then our next meeting is the 14th July, the same time, also Wednesday night, plus minus the second week of every month will be the second Wednesday of every month will be our meeting. So the next one is 14 July 2021, also 7 to 8. So please just put it in your diary.